Hello everybody, how are you? So welcome you all to my channel Champions Learn and Grow. So today we are going to do an interesting chapter of Class 6 Science NCERT sorting materials into group. This is a chapter number 4, right? So let's see what's there in the chapter. So students, when we are at home, there is a large variety of objects around us. For example, chair, utensils, books, clothes, toys and many other objects. All these objects have different shapes, sizes, colors and uses. Now first we understand what are these objects. The objects, these are the things which are made up of one or more materials. For example, chair, table, pen, pencil. These are the different objects and these objects are made up of different materials. Let's understand from the examples. For example, this is a chair. Chair is an object, right? And this chair is made up of material that is wood, right? And another example of object is pencil, right? And this pencil is made up of different materials like lead, wood and plastic, right? So there are different objects and these objects may be made up of one material or more than one material, right? Now let's understand what are materials. Materials are the substances which are used for making one or more objects. For example, wood, plastic, paper, leather, cotton, these all are different materials. And these materials are used for making different objects. For example, wood is used for making chair, table, bed, almirah, dining table. Similarly, plastic is used for making in our homes also. You can see buckets, toys, cups, plastic bags. And paper is used for making books, notebooks, newspaper, calendar. And leather is used for making leather bags, shoes. And cotton is one such material. It is used in cotton clothes, cushions, bed sheets, and handbags. So till now we have found that the objects are around us are made up of different materials, right? An object is made up of single material also. For example, chair is an object and it's made up of single material like wood. An object also can be made of many materials like scissor, which is made up of metal as well as plastic, right? And one material could be used for making many objects. For example, wood is used for making wooden doors, these cabinets, guitar and ladder. Right students? Hope until you have understood about what is object and what is an material. Right? So moving forward. So students, have you wondered why can't we use tumbler made up of cloth material for holding liquid? So what would be the answer? We can't use the cloth material for holding any liquid because cloth will not hold water. So tumbler made up of materials like plastic, iron, glass or any metal will hold the liquid, right? So we can't use any material for just any purpose, right? So now what decides which material should be used for making any given object? We choose a material to make an object depend on its properties and what is the purpose for which the object is used. So the materials of that object decides that what it is used for and what is the purpose, right students? So let's understand further what are the properties of the material. The different properties of materials are luster, transparency, solubility and hardness. So let's understand the properties of materials one by one. The first is the appearance. Now students, materials usually look different from each other, right? So depending on appearance, there are generally two types of materials, shiny or lustrous or non-lustrous. Now what are shiny or lustrous? The materials which are bright or shiny, which have luster are usually metals, for example, iron, platinum, diamond, gold. These are the lustrous or the shiny materials. They have shine in them, right? And the other materials are non-shiny. They don't have any shine, they have the dull appearance. For example, chalk, cardboard, plastic, rubber. These are all non-lustrous or non-shiny materials. Understand, students? So this is one property of the material, that is lustrous. And the second property is hardness. Now, depending on the hardness of the materials are categorized into two types, soft materials and the hard materials. Now, what are soft materials? The materials which can be compressed or scratched easily are soft materials. For example, in our home also, what are soft materials? Where can you find? For example, cotton, leather, sponge, rubber. These are soft materials. For example, leather sofas, cushions, our clothes which are made of cotton. These are all soft materials, right? These can be easily compressed. What are hard materials? Materials which are difficult to compress are known as hard. For example, wood, plastic, glass, iron, diamond. These are all hard materials. These can't be compressed, right? So this is the second property of the material. Now, what is the next property is solubility. So depending on the solubility of materials, materials are categorized into soluble and insoluble. Now, what are soluble materials? The substances that completely dissolve in water are known as soluble substances. For example, sugar, salt, vinegar, lemon, milk, juice. These are all soluble in water. For example, you dissolve salt in water at home now, so salt get easily dissolved in water. Similarly, sugar, you put sugar in water, so and stir it completely, it will completely dissolve, right? And what are insoluble? The substances which do not mix with water and do not even disappear after we stir it for a long time. These are insoluble substances. For example, sand, coconut oil, mustard oil, and kerosene. You put sand in water, so it will not be dissolved in water, it will settle down, right? Similarly, coconut oil or mustard oil, you will put oil in water, oil will not dissolve in water, it will form a layer. So these are all insoluble substances, right, which will not dissolve in water. Now the last property is transparency. So depending on the transparency, the materials are categorized into transparent, translucent, and opaque. Now, what are transparent materials? The materials through which objects can be seen clearly, and they are known as transparent materials, and light can easily pass. For example, ice, glass, windows, lenses, these all are transparent materials. We can see through them and light can easily pass through them. That is why we make windows out of glass, so that we can see through the windows, right? So this is the property of the glass, that is transparent. That is why we are using glass windows in our home, right? So next material is translucent materials. What are they? The materials through which objects can be seen but not clearly, and light can pass partially. These are known as translucent substances. For example, frosted glass, cellophane paper, and oily patch on the paper. These are all translucent materials. This oily patch on the paper, this fat test I have already discussed in chapter number 2, right? So these are the translucent materials through which light can pass but only partially. That is why in our bathrooms, this frosted glass, these glass is sometimes used, right? So that another person is not able to see in your bathroom, right? Now, what are opaque materials? Materials through which we are not able to see and light cannot pass are known as opaque materials. For example, wood, metal, brick, stone, and book. These are all opaque materials. That is why our doors in our homes, these are made up of wood, so that outside anybody can't see at your home, because opaque material will not allow you to see or light cannot pass through them, right? So these are the opaque materials and these are the properties of different materials, right students? Now students, another question comes in our mind that why sorting of materials is so important, why we are categorize materials into hard and soft, and why we sort materials basically. In everyday life, we group materials for our convenience. And second, dividing materials into groups help us to study their properties. For example, when we go to the library, there are different books, right? Science books, literature books. So they are sorted separately, right? They are not mixed together so that we can easily find out. And right, similarly in a grocery store when you go, so there is separate compartments for vegetables and fruits so that we can find these things easily for our convenience. That is why we often group materials for our convenience, and also dividing these materials into group helps us to study their properties. So thank you students, hope you like my video. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe my channel.